Hi, I'm Marcia Kosanovich, and I'm with my colleague Laurie from the Russ Southeast, and we're here to talk to you about kindergarten through third grade teacher guides to supporting family involvement in foundational reading skills and supporting your child's reading at home website. I'm going to provide an overview of the teacher guides, and then Dr. Lee will provide you an overview of the website. The Georgia Department of Education requested that the Rural Southeast support their literacy efforts by creating a resource to help teachers encourage families to support their child's literacy development. This partnership involved the Rural Southeast developing the teacher guides and Georgia teachers piloting the teacher guides and providing feedback during the development process. We created 4 grade-specific teacher guides for teachers to use during family literacy nights and parent-teacher conferences. So there's a kindergarten guide, first grade, second grade, and third grade, and the covers are on this slide. All 4 teacher guides follow the same format, but include grade-level specific content. So each guide is designed to assist teachers in supporting home literacy activities that are aligned to classroom instruction, informed by student instructional needs, grounded in evidence-based practices, and facilitated by ongoing parent-teacher communication. The content of the teacher guides is based on the foundational skills to support reading for understanding in kindergarten through third grade practice guide published in 2016. This practice guide is designed for teachers and administrators. We use the recommendations and the how-to steps from this practice guide and translated them into family-friendly language to be used by teachers to encourage family involvement in K-3 literacy. Each section of a teacher guide represents a recommendation from that practice guide and includes the recommendation reminder, teacher scaffolds, family activities, and family literacy videos in an appendix. And I'll talk just briefly about each of these components. The recommendation reminder provides a brief overview of a specific recommendation and its how-to steps from the practice guide. It's intended for the teacher to read for background knowledge as a reminder of the content, but it is not intended to be read to or shared with families. The teacher scaffolds are like a lesson plan for the teacher to use with families. So the teacher uses the teacher scaffold to describe a specific skill, why it's important in learning to read, and to model how the family can support that skill. The teacher scaffold explains that the activity should be completed together, often, and with patience and positive feedback for the child. They also emphasize that using the activities at home will be a fun way to spend family time together. Family-friendly language was intentionally used in the teacher scaffolds to encourage teachers and parents to work together as a team to support literacy. Each teacher scaffold has associated family activities. The family activities include easy-to-follow plans and the materials needed for that activity. This activity is Talking While You Read, and it's a trifold that includes an overview of how to use Peer to have a conversation with your child while reading. There's also a story on the trifold with questions placed where they are most helpful to prompt the child. Each teacher scaffold has associated family literacy videos. Family literacy videos include parents, caretakers, older brothers engaging the child in family activities. Teachers can show and discuss the videos using the key points found in each associated teacher scaffold. An appendix at the end is included for each recommendation, and this includes text messages that the teacher can send to families, video information, books to share, and teacher resources. And now I'll turn it over to Dr. Lee.
Thank you so much, Marcia. I'd like to share a little bit with you today about supporting your child's reading at home website that Rural Southeast developed. A little bit of background and purpose of the website. This website was developed in response to the COVID-19 crisis. It became apparent very quickly that families would be spending a great deal of time together, and we wanted to provide a website that contained evidence-based, family-friendly literacy activities that families could engage in together while they were home. These activities were extracted from the teacher guides that Marcia presented to you just a moment ago. One thing that we did was we revised the instructions to make sure that they were very family friendly and were in plain language, and that the entire website was very welcoming to our families. These activities, as Marcia shared, are grounded in the practice guide Foundational Skills to Support Reading for Understanding in Kindergarten through 3rd grade. Here you see the components and use of the website that I wanted to share with you. You see on your screen the home page of our website. Midway down on the screen, you see the grade levels, kindergarten through 3rd grade, and a little bit of narrative that describes the website and how to use it. The grade levels, if you click on them, you'll see a left-hand sidebar where the recommendations from the practice guide will appear. Again, these were written in family-friendly language. The how-to steps will appear when you click on a particular recommendation. You'll see those videos that Marcia referenced, and along with some family activities that again relate to those how-to steps. We encourage families on the website to use those activities in a very positive manner. If there are activities that seem too difficult for children, we encourage the families to not be afraid to just forego that activity and move back and try something else. And conversely, if there's an activity that seems like it's too easy, we encourage our families to move forward and try something that's a little bit more challenging for their child. Here you'll see that I've clicked on kindergarten and then I clicked on recommendation 1, which is developing language. Again, we translated those recommendations into family-friendly language so families could easily understand them. You see the first how-to step, which is talking while you read, and those videos that Marcia referenced, one with a mother and son, and the second with a mother and her daughter. The key points to those videos are right there, so families don't have to wonder what they're looking for. They can read those and then watch those videos and look for those key points. And there you see the bookmark that Marcia referenced. We house that on the website as well as a good reminder of how parents and caregivers, brothers and sisters, can interact with their children while they read with them. We also wanted to share with you an activity. This is a 1st grade activity that relates to recommendation 2, which is linking sounds to letters. And so you see the directions for that activity are again written very straightforward manner, very easy to understand. And then you see the activity represented there with a visual depiction of what families are supposed to do, what their children are supposed to do, which is to move those counters into the boxes that represent sounds associated with the picture. You see the key is there, so families know when their children are responding correctly. The counters are there so that the children can use those, or they could use something else like pennies or something that they may have on hand at home. And there's the template for the activity. Marcia and I just want to thank you for joining us, and our contact information is there. If you have questions or need more information, please feel free to get in touch with us.
Hello, my name is Sarah Wissel, and I'm a program manager at Mathematica and the director of operations for Mathematica's work on the What Works Clearinghouse. I'm pleased to have this chance to share an important resource with you, tips for families to help them support struggling readers at home. The What Works Clearinghouse, or WWC, is an initiative of the Institute of Education Sciences within the U.S. Department of Education. The WWC reviews education research to identify well-designed and well-implemented research, then summarizes findings from that high-quality research. The goal is to help educators like you and decision makers to identify and implement evidence-based practices. To learn more about what the WWC does and the types of free resources available to educators that the WWC has to offer, I encourage you to attend our session on improving reading instruction for struggling readers. The tips for parents are based on what we know from well-designed and well-implemented research. This means that these activities have worked to improve reading outcomes for students in the past and are likely to work again for your students. The tips are written for parents and caregivers. You don't need to know a lot about reading instruction or have access to instructional tools and materials to implement them. And while these tips don't require a deep understanding of how students learn to read, they do provide information for parents about what skills they will help to build and why those skills are important. The tips for parents are based on the recommendations within a practice guide that was written for classroom educators. The practice guide was developed by a panel of nationally recognized experts and educators and informed by the evidence. The full practice guide and a summary of it, both written for educators in kindergarten through third grade, are available for free on the WWC website. I encourage you to share these tips with parents and caregivers by including copies of them in students' take-home folders or sharing the link to them when emailing families. The first tip is to integrate conversations about the text into reading time. This tip is appropriate for children in kindergarten through grade 3. The tip suggests 3 strategies shown here on the slide to help caregivers understand how to do this. They should ask open-ended questions. They should ask the child to make connections to their own life, and they should increase the complexity of those questions and discussions over time. The tip also provides examples of questions that caregivers can ask for both informational and narrative texts. For example, if you're reading something about birds, you might want to ask the child why birds fly south for the winter and use that to start a conversation about the text. The second tip is for parents and caregivers to help their kindergartners and first graders to break sentences and then words into smaller parts. This helps prepare children to identify individual sounds within words and common sound patterns, both of which are important for important foundational skills as they learn to read and to spell. The tip encourages parents to ask children to count the number of words in a sentence. The tip then shows parents how to help their children create compound words and break down compound words, as shown here with strawberry, bookshelf, and cowboy. Finally, this tip provides 2 strategies to help students count the syllables in words. The third tip for caregivers whose children are in kindergarten through third grade is about sounding out words smoothly so the children can recognize the words that they are reading. The tip starts by explaining how parents can demonstrate this. It then offers prompts to support children in sounding the words out smoothly. So they get, for example, man rather than n. Parents and caregivers then need to prompt the child to check their own work by asking things like, does that word make sense? Do you recognize that word? The final tip in this series is to model fluent reading. This tip is appropriate for caregivers of children in kindergarten and first grade. The tip encourages daily reading practice to reinforce what it means to read fluently and with proper tone and emphasis. Parents should set a slow pace and intentionally slow down for words that may be challenging. They should also use familiar books when focusing on fluency so that they can really direct children's attention appropriately. The tip also presents 3 methods for reading with children. The first is to take turns reading passages. The second is to read simultaneously at the same. Then the third is for the child to repeat what the caregiver has just read. Any and all of these will help to encourage fluency while parents and children are reading together. Thank you for your interest in the tips for parents to support reading at home. I encourage you to reach out to the WWC Help Desk with any questions. This resource and the other practice guide resources that I mentioned, as well as lots of other great evidence-based resources related to literacy, are available to the public for free on the WWC website with the link shown here. Thank you so much.
You have our contact information, so if you do think of questions moving forward, please reach out to any of us and we'd be glad to entertain your questions and get back with you as soon as we can. Thank you for attending today, and we hope that you found these resources to be beneficial. Thanks so much.